Hey guys, we have another tech outcomes from tech preview number 2. So feedback, let's get into it. First up, accessibility, positive, friend or foe, outline color options. Positive, full controller and keyboard and mouse remapping continues to receive praise. Ability to change text size across the entire game. Positive, subtitles for multiplayer. Feedback, desire for an auto sprint option. Desire for more color controls, a full colorblind mode, customized placement and size of HUD elements. I know that was a thing. Believe me, I have friends who are talking about this as well. Here we go. Oh, hold on. Feedback. Team response. We are so glad to see how many players are taking advantage of it and using additional color options for their foe system. They will continue to listen to feedback for accessibility and partner with Sandbox UX UI team to explore more since in future releases. They are continuing to see feedback around how controller keyboard and mouse remapping, the ability to change text size, adjust subtitles, and other options such as changing reticle thickness, have removed old barriers present in previous titles and made sure the game could play well for everyone. The three pieces of feedback we saw this flight were very similar to what we saw in our first one, and we agree with all of them. While they weren't able to make launch, we are keeping these in our list of post-launch priorities and hope to fit them into a future season. Auto sprint additional color controls are both likely to come sooner than something like HUD customization. That would likely take a sizable overhaul of some systems. They all may take time, but we want to go after them. We'll let the UX UI team expand more. Audio. Weapons sound powerful out of the experience. Positive. Needler projectiles sound more less crystal since last flight. I agree. Ambient maps sound and detail, special fragmentation are appreciated. Positive. People continue to enjoy both menu and multiplayer music. Positive, the musical riffs in the game are nice touch. Needler Combat sounds good, but this feedback option. Needler Combat Explosion sounds good, but can be too quiet. As always, the positive comments appreciative. We expand on legacy sounds where we could, adjust other sounds based on your feedback, and feel like we landed a really good place to have sound design. It was nice to some people recognize the changes to Needler from the first flight, though some which the volume Super Combat effect could be a little louder. We'll take a look at this, use the way for this to stay sounding great, but feel more impactful rewarding for the player using Needler. Live team. Positive, customization looking great. Feedback, many players want to earn per match XP outside challenges. I 100% agree. Concerns around time, double XP boost efficiency. I agree with that one too. Desire for a career ranking system addition to the Battle Pass. I agree with this. It's good to be back, and we're happy to hear that people are liking the added customization this flight. It wasn't all high praise though, so let's dive in. We're aware there's some desired changes for a broader progression system outside the Battle Pass. After last flight, we have adjusted our daily challenges to be more focused on a per-match play. The other big issue was making double XP boost more time efficient and match on usage. This is something we agree with, are looking for a solution we can provide at a future date. While we explore those, which could be larger undertakings, we're also looking to faster options, such as ways to increase how frequently XP is given out by challenges and potentially tying XP boosts to matches played rather than time. That's an excellent move. Beyond that, there's such a large number of requests for additional career progression. We want this too. It's our team's top priority, but doing it right will take time, and this may mean it won't come as quickly as many of you would like. As we look at what our team needs to build, adding an entirely new progression on top of everything else is a lot. Building a progression system with solid design, implementation, top-tier presentations, thorough testing, and polish will take some time. They want to do it right. While this is a long way away, please understand that outside of continuing to support the basic needs of each season and finish up existing work that's already been started, building additional progression systems and improving the areas mentioned above are the live team's top priorities. Multiplayer, training, positive. Training mode provides a safe place to simply lean back and learn as a beginner. Positive, training mode relieves lots of love from competitive players looking to deliberately practice. The wide array of options to change the combat stage will also appreciate it. Positive, bots continue to be intelligent and fun and challenging. Feedback, players want to play in fragmentation and to have their friends join them. Yes! I wanted this so bad, and I was disappointed that was not in the flight. But let's see what they say. Last flight, the reception of bots blew us away, seeing nearly the same levels of positivity for training mode. Another new addition to the multiplayer experience was just a fantastic validation for our vision for Academy. We are happy the experience resonates so well with players of all skill levels, providing a fun and helpful way to learn more about the game. Training mode is played locally on your machine, meaning we don't spin up a server that multiple people can join, but we think the heart of this feedback is solved by custom games. At launch, You'll be able to play in big team battle maps with friends and a handful of bots together in the same custom game. It seemed there wasn't too much to dislike, but we do have ideas how we can improve and expand what makes training mode special. If you have any other things or options like to be added, please let us know. Oh, I'm sure people will. Combat sensor, positive. Most players appreciate the return of the motion tracker settings. Consistent reports felt the range felt too small, especially a big team battle. I agree. High indication was present, but many players did not recognize its implementation. The response, after reading the feedback from the flight, it was apparent that most people wanted the legacy motion tracker properties for our social state. They came back and landed really well. We'll keep an eye on it in case sentiment swings away, but we're confident in this choice after launch. We did see that people felt they were caught off guard to the radius setting of the combat center, with the majority of these reports kind of BTB for arenas. We didn't see enough feedback want to make it fundamental ahead of launch, but we continue to monitor when we launch. For Big Team Battle, we agree, and the plan on getting this updated from 18 meters to 22 meters shortly after launch, so while we may not see it on launch day, please know that's absolutely on the way. That's good. I agree that it was too short. Arena. Behavior is amazing all around. Some consider it as a classic. I love it. Capture the Flag is a classic, of course. Many appreciate the return of Strongholds, notably PC players who have not experienced in Halo 5 found it enjoyable. Split. Some players expressed a desire for the flag to kill and one melee. Others appreciated the current tuning. Some players appreciated the flag visibility rules. Others were still unsure about how they worked. Nope. The bug allowed vehicles to push flags, so was this like it was? Yeah, that was overpowered. We love Behemoth too. Introducing vehicular gameplay to Arena was targeted very early when thinking about multiplayer. There's just something special about having all the sandbox elements together in those small places. It just feels magical. I agree. Flag melee damage is something we tested and tweaked quite a bit internally to get where we landed today. With its current melee tuning, the flag takes hits to kill, but its melee swings are faster than a player who's holding a weapon. Yes, it's satisfying to get a one-hit melee when you're the carrier, but we believe this new take allows for more interesting battles between players. That said, I'll watch this to make sure it's performing as we intended when the game goes live. In regards to the flag visibility rules, we'll continue to watch this one while we're live to see if any specific instances that are confusing people. It's worth noting that Halo Infinite has different spotted rules than Halo 5, so we do want to make sure that people who have time to get more familiar with it, the team will keep an eye on this. And yes, we agree that pushing the flag of while very sandboxy is too easy. It removes much of the team aspect we want to see with matches. That was a bug, it was already been fixed. BTB. Recommendation is an amazing amount of playing space for vehicle and sparring combat. Vault Loot Caves are a fun addition. Yep. Pelican vehicle delivers like the amazing added experience. Positive. Wildlife was a pleasant surprise. Smiley face. Catch Flag is a classic. Rotating the flag's position was enjoyed by most. Positive. Total Control received top marks for being both fun and intense. Moving the zones after each score helped keep the gameplay fresh throughout each match. Spawning more powerful vehicles later in the match meant players had fewer opportunities to use them. Feedback. Jeff Steitzer, please. All they know. Halo Infinite's BTB is bigger, it's better, and we're thrilled to see so many of you enjoyed it. We took some bigger risks with BT Battles maps in order to make it feel fresh, such as moving the Flog spawn around, Loot Caves, Pelicans dropping off vehicles, and building new modes like Total Control. It's great to see them land so well. We'll continue to expand on, not copy, a lot of these ideas in the future as we add more BTB content over the lifetime of the game. We did see some players very concerned about the stronger vehicles arriving later, in some cases too late, during their matches. We understand the desire for better vehicles more than often. Who doesn't want more chance to jump in the Scorpion? But we believe the progression of power has better and bigger vehicle spawns and allow at the end of the end match to feel like bigger moments. It's also worth mentioning that there were vehicles such as the Chopper and the Wraith that weren't available in the flight that will help further flesh out the vehicle story in each match. Please be sure to let us know what you think is match progression when the game launches. Jeff Steitzer's voice will return in BTB. We were not able to get this change in time, but they're looking forward to bringing his voice back and all the glory as soon as you get. There you go, because I noticed that too, so glad they're listening to that. PC, I don't play on PC, but here we are. The authority is saying the option is greatly appreciated. The update between weekend 1 and weekend 2 improved performance drastically. Lack of exclusive full screen option was missed by some. Some players expressed desire for additional performance optimization. PC team. The positive reception of Halo Infinite on PC, both from the flight and from the recent video, has been very energizing. The positive comments help reaffirm our priorities, and areas of feedback helped us prioritize what to work on next. We want to pull out a couple of the most common points of feedback where we're at. Exclusive full screen is an interesting one. When reading the feedback from it, they want an exclusive full figure because they believe it would give them significant performance advantage. While that used to be accurate a few years ago, that's actually no longer the case due to some fundamental changes to Windows 10. It is not applicable to DirectX 12. Infinite is DirectX 12 only. Not to get too technical here, but you can read up on this update here. If exclusive full screen would have increased performance over our current options, we would have prioritized it for higher on the list and pursued it. However, there are still other cases such as accessibility and just personal preference, and we do want to give the players a choice. It would not be something that comes immediately post-launch, but they will be investigating how to expose this. Improving performance always our focus, and we're happy to say there's a number of performance optimizations that will be in our final release that are not available. We work closely with our graphics and core game system team to improve the game's performance all around, and while most performance optimizations benefit both console and PC, there are specific that we've done on PC to improve frame rate consistency, hitching, reduce video memory usage, and more. The optimizations we made since the last preview should be quite noticeable and will help the game run and feel better in whatever hardware you may have. Sandbox. Positive, the increased default 72 was received well. Aiming was difficult on both controller and mouse and keyboard. Feedback, performance impacted aim. Using the scroll wheel to change weapons on mouse felt inconsistent and could lead to accidentally swap back to original weapon. No, confusion around red reticle removal in certain instances. Aiming was probably the most highly debated topic we saw emerge. Since we are first FPS, it is not something we take lightly, and we monitored it closely across both weekends. Some liked how difficult the aiming was, but many players thought the aiming was too difficult / felt bad. We also know that the game is not fully optimized, which is the case. Aiming does not feel as good as it would. Also, some players who weren't happy with the remove red reticle on PC, however, there's a lot of factors to unpack. When we started work on Halo Infinite, we did want aiming to require more skill, but we also didn't want it to feel bad for anyone. There was a strong focus on raising the skill ceiling without removing the fun. Natural aiming feel that you expect from a Halo game, the response from this flight has made us take a closer look at aiming, but we needed to make sure we took a measured approach, especially knowing that performance optimization will also improve its feel. As a result of this look, we made minor changes to the cone angle of aim assist on select weapons for launch. To be clear, this is not a change of the strength and stickiness. It should help make aiming feel more natural. A list of these changes can be seen below. Pulse caliber 4 to 6 degrees, Commando 5 to 5.5, BR 5 to 5.75, Heatwave 5 to 6.25, Ravager 6 to 6.75, Sidekick 5 to 6.25, Skewer 4.2 to 5.6, Sniper Rifle 3 to 4, Shock Rifle turn on hip magnetism. We will be watching this closely. Help those changes along with the performance optimization help improve how aiming feels when you go hands-on in December. Another part of the confusion and frustration around aiming also likely stemmed from the removal of red reticle online multiplayer. We knew this would be controversial, but they trust the team when they say this will cut out another potential cheating vector. We saw quite a few people say just build a better anti-cheat system, which isn't really the right way to look at things. Building a better anti-cheat system involves taking preventive measures across the entire game. Now they're possible to reduce the ease of creating cheats. This is one of those small steps that contribute to a larger anti-cheat strategy across the entire game. There was also feedback that stated red reticle range was needed to determine effective range on weapons, which although is helpful, we don't agree that is a necessity on most weapons. However, in the case of tracking weapons such as the pistol and the carbine, or something that locks on like the sword, we agree. Red reticle is enabled on those weapons during the flight, and they will stay enabled so you know when those weapons are ready to track or are locked onto their target. While not directly aiming related, we saw PC players mention that using the swap weapon input to their mouse scroll could cause a double swap, returning them back to the initial weapon. We saw this too. We're actively looking at this internally. IFF recognition. Positive, expanding customers' options continue to be appreciated. Shield saying overshoot readability improved last flight. Some felt there was still room to improve. Feedback, some players felt hotlines made it too easy to spot and be spotted away from a far distance. Desire for more options remained, including the ability to turn them off. It was great to see implements being implemented since the last one, especially around the readability of a shield state to determine how much health. During the BTB portion, some players felt concerns about the range at which outlines kicked in. It didn't seem to be a problem for most, but we want to acknowledge that we hear this will monitor it when we launch. As for turning them off entirely, we'd love to provide this option to others down the line. But it's something we need to balance and prioritize our other work. We'll provide updates on this when we have it. Weapons. Overall, weapon builds continue to feel great, positive. Throwing Fusion Calls, aka the Noob Cube, is a fantastic addition to the gameplay loop. Many players expressed concern that the plasma pistol underperformed. Some players were worried about Bloom on the VK Commando and the Sidekick. Feedback. Some players disliked the S7's level accuracy when out of scope. Weapons are Halo's bread and butter, but we're glad to see the overall balance of lending well. Since Halo is a live game, though, that work is never done, and will consistently monitor how all the weapons interact with one another and make balance changes when needed. And seeing people share clips of them throwing feature calls put smiles on all their faces. The conversation around the plasma pistol were good to read over the course. It went from near outrage at the removal of its ability to EMP vehicles to mild dislike, and it shifted constructive criticism about its role in the Arena BTB gameplay loop. We expect a little bit of shock when that change is coming into play, but we were happy to see the conversation shift toward feedback because we agreed with a lot of it. We also noticed it wasn't performing well in its intended role. Thanks to your feedback, we're looking at some targeted changes to address the shortcomings. We can't guarantee these changes will make it launch, but they are in progress and will make their way to the game soon. Bloom or accuracy decay due to poor trigger discipline, especially on precision weapons. Always a lovely conversation. During this tech preview, we saw people not mind Bloom, others dislike it. I'm in the form of dislike, with most of the talk focusing on the Commando and the Sidekick. From what we saw in people's gameplay and in the data, both perform well in their intended ranges, but the VK78 actually started to do a little too well. The MK50 really is meant to be a sidekick, not a proper primary utility weapon like many expected. Coming off the heels of Halo 5, we believe it is fulfilling to the current turns. In the case of the 78, we reduced the damage on it, so it requires one more bullet to secure a kill. Given that could be a pretty big change, we opted not to alter its Bloom. It will continue to monitor how it plays. We are making adjustments to Bloom on these weapons at launch, but like all weapons, we will continue to monitor and make changes to need. I just wish Bloom was gone. It shouldn't exist. It should exist. No Scorpio with the sniper was one we saw a bit of attraction on during the first one, with a slight increase this one. Eagle Eye Marksman noticed that hip-fire shots with the sniper are not always dead center, even though they always stay within small reticle. This is intended for a few reasons, with the most notable being the sniper. It's used at long range. Since we know people ask, our tuning is in line with previous titles that also had this effect on the sniper. Right now it's intended for hipfire and S7 to be accurate and consistent. Beyond that range, players should scope it. Again, this behavior is not new to snipers in Halo, or even to other precision weapons in Halo. We understand where you're coming from. We'd like for you to try to get used to ranges from those scoping and scoping in before we make any changes. Movement. Overall movement and speed feels continue to be seen well. Feedback. Desire for increased physics impulse will help grenade jump, etc. Feedback. Some like no play collision. Others would like it to return. I didn't realize that some people actually like the no player collision, concerning from friends that I've played with in the flight, they would like for it to be back. So that's interesting. These two feedback items have popped up here and there, so let's talk about it. Desire for feedback, knockback, and physics impulse, one that we agree with. The two areas to focus on here are the grenade explosions to allow for grenade jumping and the gravity hammer. For cool gravity effects to have a more satisfying smash, there are a lot of creative plays that can be made. Physics impulses into the mix, and that's what we want. We may not get these increases for launch, but we're on the same page. We're working to get them as soon as we can. Player collision, which is split, is one we believe is better to keep as is with time needed. We recognize there are fun moments to have from having enabled. We will see far more benefits to the core gameplay loop. For the majority of our players, when teammates aren't pumping one another, running to a teammate at the start of a match or normal gameplay while trying to back down cause you're weak when running the flag and trying to get around a corner, and more. These are common pain points that we eliminate with this one decision. It does mean listening to ability to buddy jump and stock on top of your friends, but we believe remember the frustration of not being able to move where you want when you want is worth it. That said, we understand its use case and value in some situations. We aren't going to ignore this and ensure we'll monitor closely to collect more data from it. Equipment. Grapple Shot continues to be a fan favorite. Oh yes. Repul's versatility received a lot of praise during both. Players want a drop water to play faster and be more durable. I agree. Players' fault threats versus radius and ratio were underwhelming. The grapple shot and radio pulse seems to be everyone's favorite. We're happy that these are feeling exciting, skillful, and fun. Yep. After last play, we did increase the amount of time it takes to deploy the trap wall, so a lot of people wanted more, with many folks wanting it to be more like the bubble shield. In this case, we disagree on buffing it any further right now. That sucks. We're confident its ability to perform when deployed proactively. People were engaged rather than reactivate defensively, while monitor this in the live game. but we want to be cautious because increases durability could slow combat down too much, and decreasing deploy time could diminish the intended counterplay. The threat sensor seems to be in a similar spot right now, with the community feeling underwhelmed by its effectiveness. However, information is vital, and the threat sensor fits a unique role that can be powerful, possibly too good. If utilized effectively and wants meta strategies developed around it, there are no updates planned for the threat sensor right now, but we'll continue to monitor it when the game goes live. Vehicles. Positive felt fun to use. Location-specific damage, both and art functionality was an appreciated addition. Ghost felt too strong in terms of damage output and vehicle health. Banshee did not feel effective enough, with concerns about the Banshee damage output and effective of arena maneuvers and total vehicle health. Feedback. Scorpion's driving was felt too hard and unintuitive. It was great seeing people drive and ride around in vehicles for the first time during this preview. It's been a long time coming, but we're happy the overall feel and balance of them was well received. There was always room for improvement though, and we agree with just about all the feedback above, so let's break it down. Ghosts were fun to use, but they were menaces to take down Arena and BTB. We're pretty happy with the damage it could dish up, but do think it was able to take a bit more damage than it should. So we're starting long-term conversation how we can either reduce the durability or protection it provides in this flight. The Banshee didn't feel like a dominant force that terrorized the sky. While that is intended to some extent, we agree we could do more and make it more viable. The team is working on increasing durability and effectiveness of the bomb. The Scorpion is meant to be a slow-moving tank, but that doesn't mean we want its improvement to feel unintuitive. It should still feel good, smooth, and go where you tend to go, investigating a way to tighten the turn radius without reducing the turn rate. We agree with all this vehicle comeback since we're focused on closing down bugs. These tuning changes may need to come later down the road. Let us know what you think as they make their way inside the game. UX UI, positive HUDs, clean and streamlined approach, appreciated. Feedback, inability to see second grenade time in HUD left some disappointment, I agree. Someone like HUD customization options, I agree with that. No. The flow to mute a player takes more steps than previous Halos causing confusion. No. Due to like in-game messaging, players didn't know why they were banned for how long, causing frustration. Response. Overall, we're happy with the feedback we saw on this flight. It's mostly positive with the feedback they're already targeting future releases. We agreed that the layout of the player's inventory can be improved and will address puzzle size and layout in coming release. This change will also include persistent viability into the second grenade type for multiplayer gameplay and new settings to adjust inventory layout. We noticed a few people point out that immunity and ban messaging was not as clear as they hoped. We're working with our live and service teams to ensure that info is timely and easy to find. We'll provide more updates when we have them. Closing. Thank you for playing and providing feedback on Halo Infinite's multiplayer experience throughout the summer. If you did get a chance to join us, make sure you register as a Halo Insider. You can provide feedback via surveys to help shape the future of the franchise and participate in more Halo Infinite flight down the road. As a reminder, Halo Infinite's multiplayer is free to play on Xbox and PC, and our most expensive campaign is also available to pre-order right now. We cannot wait for you to go all hands on the full game later this year. All right, what do I think about this? Obviously good feedback. So there were some things I do disagree with. So like the whole. I think the stronger vehicles should be just the old school spawn. Like the tank and all that. While the smaller vehicles can still be brought in by the Pelican, or vice versa. But anyway, this is Halo Gaming. What do you think of all this feedback? Man, 3 videos in one day. 2 of them obviously because of IGN and 3 of them themselves. So anyway, this is Halo Gaming, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.